Any sentient being already knows that this is yet another unfortunate sign of the times. You are able to show and hide this, but that wasn't enough. Either way, I never gave a shit about my sub count. That's not why I have this platform. What about the comments? Well, here's yet another option we can adjust as content creators. We can allow all comments, hold potentially inappropriate comments for review, hold all comments, or just disable them altogether. Not to mention shadow ban comments. Oh, and look at that. Users can view ratings for this video. Yet another option we as content creators can set. Again, something that does not govern me in any way, let alone proves to be my be-all, end-all. Any content creator worth their integrity, passion, and humbleness would not give a shit about any of those things. Numbers, words, letters, and virtual buttons should not define you as a content creator and human being for that matter. But what does YouTube once again do? Well, it's very simple. Look at Twitter. Look at YouTube. Look at any social media platform out there, and you'll see that they are nothing more than spineless tools that engineer a safe space, and MaxiPad for that matter, for snowflakes, censorship, and cancel culture. More and more as this snowflake world goes on, it becomes more and more about hiding these poor, fragile fucking souls from all of the throes of reality, truths, criticism, and better yet, any and everything that they don't want to hear and see. Why? Because if they exist in a world that doesn't revolve around them, it is the equivalent of a threat on their lives. In response to creator feedback around well-being, imagine talking about someone's well-being because you woke flakes want to weaponize the internet to be infinitely more dangerous than it has been in the past few decades. What exactly changes about the internet that we have to discuss people's well-being? Just get the fuck off of it. If it's a mental detriment, how hard is that? But they're testing something new here, guys. But before I go any further into any of this, another thing that gets worse through time are people's attention spans. A lot of people have already taken this the wrong way from what they choose to interpret from it. So no, they're not currently anyway thinking about removing dislikes from videos entirely. Again, currently not thinking of this. With things going the way they're going, you shouldn't be surprised anyway. But all they're doing is testing a few new designs that don't show the public dislike count. However, I already know that this is a horrible statement regardless. So with all of that said, I do want to talk about the what if when it comes to the amputation of dislikes and their impact on content and content creators that create the content and the shit that they're doing right here. Now, needless to say, if they remove dislikes entirely, well, that already speaks for itself, doesn't it? This would just be another piece of shit added to the pile of social media platforms out there with no spine, no integrity, no identity, and will to stand for something because they rather fall for everything and pander to all of these wimps out here who wear their emotions and fragile egos on their shoulder. Of all the things that are wrong with YouTube, who should honestly be surprised that they're just another platform that isn't mindful of things like criticism, free will, free speech, and human rights for that matter? And this is all because these insecure twats can't stand hearing what they don't want to hear, so now they have to hide them from the big bad virtual button that allows you to upvote and downvote their content. But here's what doesn't make sense. The creators will still be able to see the exact number of likes and dislikes in their videos. The viewers won't. So what does this do exactly for content creators if all they mean to do is just hide the dislikes from the public? Likes and dislikes will still count. It's just that they get to groom their little fragile egos a bit more because the public won't be able to see the exact amount. Well, if we're talking about well-being, YouTube, are you okay? You're the geniuses that will try to multiply and divide 9,000 by 0 and expect a different result. This changes nothing. And obviously this is still bad, as if they removed the dislikes entirely, because this gives all of these fragile and quite frankly mediocre content creators free reign to shitpost whatever they like and feel entitled to clicks, blind praise, upvotes, and here's another thing, ad revenue. So let me get this right. They're good enough for a click, this affecting their ad revenue bag, upvotes, blind praise, and whatever else comes with the analytics in their favor, but no criticism. I thought the point of upvotes and downvotes on content on YouTube was to express that criticism. So you want to augment this because you want to protect people's feelings and their shitty ego, YouTube? When you are such a horrible platform that you can't even follow your own rules, so you have to arbitrarily arbitrarily augment them to protect all of these pussies who are afraid to get even a little criticism and anything to the detriment of their ad revenue, because that's what this is really about. That is, if they were to remove dislikes entirely. So what lesson is this supposed to teach anyone exactly? Let's say another content creator goes to the extreme because they totally haven't done this before and they totally won't do it again in the future, right? Oh, the beauty of inevitability. At the end of the day, YouTube, you're once again responsible for creating, let alone enabling a monster, because you teach them that it's okay to wear their feelings on their shoulder. You teach them that it's okay to hide things, hide away from the criticism, hide away from the mean old toxicity, this, that, the other thing, blah, 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 that is detrimental to them in any kind of way. Never mind if they want to improve their content. Never mind if they're a shitty content creator.
Mommy, they're talking about me. I didn't get my favorite ice cream. Her toy looks better than mine. I want the same color she got.
Keep in mind that these content creators are the same ones that don't have day jobs and a skill set, for that matter, to do anything other than make macro media flash movies in their basement. You're telling me that they deserve a better paycheck and sanity than all of us in the real world, holding down real jobs, dealing with real shit? When I'm babysitting a lot of the stupid ass wastes of space that I work with, do I hide away and do nothing but amount to a waste of space like they do? No, I lose my job and my means of living. On the battlefield, do you tell the soldier to not use a weapon against the enemy, but to go talk to them for their well-being? YouTube, you are contributing to the cess that is doing nothing more than crippling this snowflake generation of anything but sentient beings. When has the internet become the equivalent of 30 nukes? It doesn't matter if they see them or not, if they still count. And let's go ahead and censor every and anything that will hurt someone's feelings, because that's totally not what the internet should be about. How did any of these people manage gestation? And I guess this is to prove a point, but that's just the point, isn't it? If a content creator such as this one creates objectively antagonistic, narcissistic, manipulative, fraudulent, and caustic content, they deserve that very feedback. Hey, if you want to hide it away from them because they have the shittiest ego known to man, go right ahead. But because it additionally affects their ad revenue bag, nothing about that should change, because no one, no matter how narcissistic, self-righteous, and delusional they are, is above criticism. If they're good enough for the views, if they're good enough for the upvotes, if they're good enough for the scrotum bath that they get from their simps as well as the ad revenue, then they are good enough for the criticism and the approval and disapproval that comes with that. No one gives a shit about an entitled brat that thinks they're anything more than mediocre, insecure, and fragile as hell, while putting out said content and playing the victim to the same antagonistic and cancerous role that they've been playing for 8 years, because they think they can pretend away all of the shit posts that earned them said infamy. So to all the publicifies, the DSPs, the onion boys in the YouTube space, they get exactly what they deserve because they instigated. So the bitch asses can only play the victim and sulk in their despair. Criticism, just like free speech and human rights for that matter, should not be passed up in favor of shitty people with a shitty ego and hurt feelings. If their content is garbage, they deserve that exact same reception. This will do nothing, just like everything else wrong with YouTube, to improve your platform. I mean, come on, YouTube, of all the things you could actually be improving, you once again want to cater to the fragile egos and hurt feelings of snowflakes on your platform? What about basement dwelling retards like these, who seemingly have an endless supply of sock puppet accounts created solely for targeted harassment? People can do shit like this all day and you don't bat an eye. Or better yet, what about your copyright strike free real estate? Because if the same pussies get their feelings hurt, well, they can counter with a false copyright strike, because criticism is negativity, toxicity, and bullying. but you do nothing about this and that free real estate. So yeah, guys, in this snowflake world, this is the sign of the times. You have to hide away things, abbreviate things, and augment things to pander to hurt feelings and bruised egos, because they're once again another shitty platform creating a safe space around all of these blights to social media and humanity for that matter. You used to be able to express yourself without having to choose the right words while walking on eggshells. You used to make comments on this pathetic fucking site without refreshing the page to see if it wasn't immediately deleted, because this filter tightly locks down any comments made in any YouTube video in any part of this shithole for that matter, that it rivals a 1024-bit security encryption, or better yet the security around the Pentagon and Area 51 combined. You know, more people have fell victim to a lot more tragedies on the internet alone than in the runtime of this pandemic. Isn't that sad? Because this is what they've done to the internet. They've weaponized it to be worse than any actual threat to human life. But they can't deal with any real issues and real threats in the world. How many of you have been vaccinated so far, by the way? Everybody's so terrified of the many threats out there that could easily end us in a split second and we'd never know what hit us. Magnetars, black holes, rogue exoplanets, you name it. There's so much shit out there, so many billions of light years away. And there's always the threat of everything closer to home, like comets, you name it. Hell, Andromeda is supposed to converge with our galaxy in 4 billion years, give or take. Imagine the view in the day and night skies. But before that, the sun is supposed to become a red giant, engulfing Mercury, Venus, and even our home planet before all of that happens. It's so many possibilities and so many threats out there compared to this little world where so many are defeated by the internet alone. Before any of us worry about any of that shit to come in the foreseeable future, I think it's a safe bet and thing to say that humanity will be defeated long before all of that by the shit they allowed their punk asses to be consumed by on their monitor alone. We're in the end game now.